It's Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. Mental health is real. Seek help and the stigma. On the news this morning. Police deny attacking anti-emergency rule protesters in Port Harcourt. Acquitted detainees allege pressure to implicate former chief of staff in assembly fire case. Veteran rapper slams President Tinubu and son in new song. On the foreign scene, China vows to fight on after U.S. latest tariffs threat. Details of these and more after this break. Now, the Rivers State Police Command has denied reports that it opened fire on protesters and used tear gas to disperse them around Abali Park and the Federal Secretariat Complex Aba Road in Port Harcourt on Monday. Now, spokesperson of the command, Grace Iringikoko, in a statement said the reports are unfounded. SP Iringikoko said when the police received reports about the protest, officers were quickly deployed to the specified locations. She said when the officers arrived, they observed a group of miscreants engaging in criminal act, including the theft of mobile phones and other valuables from unsuspecting members of the public. She said police operatives responded swiftly, dispersing the individuals. She said reports that police fired tear gas and shot at protesters are deliberate fabrications by mischief makers seeking to incite public anxiety and create unnecessary tensions within the state. She urged the public to disregard the report and remain assured of their safety. Now, earlier, correspondent Obi Oruware was among those caught up in the tear gas canisters fired by security agencies amid sporadic shots during the protest in Port Harcourt on Monday. He sustained leg injuries in the process. Security agents comprising the Army, Police, and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps were deployed as protesters gathered at the Isaac Borough Park as part of a larger nationwide action. They marched to demand the repeal of the Cybercrime Act and protested the suspension of Rivers State Governor Similayo Fubara. They waved placards with slogans such as "Stop the Repression" and "Let Us Breathe." The operatives were seen assaulting the channel's TV correspondent Charles Oporom and later bundled him into their vehicle. They seized the camera of the AIT crew. The journalists were later released and their cameras were returned to them. Oporom spoke to our correspondent on this.
I identified myself. I even showed him my ID card. So even if you are a journalist, tell you not to protest, are you not supposed to listen to us? I said, look, I'm not protesting. I'm here to report on what is actually happening. So he kept slapping me and beating me and dragging me. He tried to force me into a bus. I looked at that bus. I said, no, I can't enter this bus because this is not a police van. I said, it's better put me in a police van. Let me know that I'm in the custody of the police. So he dragged me to the second van and pushed me inside. He tried to take my phone, but I resisted. No, I held my phone back. I said, no, I'm not releasing my phone to you. When I got into the van and they closed the van, it turned out that the people in the van were members of the CP monitoring units and they know me.
Also, the coordinator of the Take It Back nationwide protest in Rivers State, Amaya King, says he sustained wounds when security forces dispersed the protesters.
We came out peacefully this morning to express our grievances as Rivers people, and while moving we were like 200 kilometers away from the convergence point when police started shooting live ammunition at us and I was shot at. I'm on my way to the hospital now to receive treatment.
The place is swollen. He's having an internal injury there. There's an internal injury.
we are asking the government, the federal government, to repeal the Cybercrime Act and to reinstate the elected governor of Rivers State. The Rivers people cannot continue to live without a government.
Another protester, Chatamwala, also spoke.
We must all realize that we're all Nigerians. Nobody is more Nigerian than the other. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not more Nigerian than any of us. He's only privileged to be our president. And he cannot lead us in dictatorship. Every other person can actually be consumed by whatever they are doing, but we refuse to be consumed by it. We condemn what has happened today in Rivers State. And when we say this, that it's a shame on Nigerian government that Nigerian government will be shooting at its citizens for protesting and for demanding for good governance. And it is actually sad that Nigerian government is doing what they are doing at this particular point in time. Right now, they want to silence the voice of reasonability. They want to silence the voice of citizens, but we will say no to it and we will resist it.
Mr. Wala explained what led to the action of the security forces in Port Harcourt.
The same is that Oud came and said that made a statement we should leave, that we have granted peace, we have done enough procession, that we should go. We said no, that we have not even started what we had envisaged and to proceed, and we need to follow that particular route. He said no, that we must leave now, and we said no, we will not leave, that what we are doing is our civil right, and we have the permission of to even go ahead with what we are doing. The next thing they started doing, they started shooting tear gas canisters on us. Of course, it was a joint team from both the army, the police, the civil defense. They were all there. The next thing, the army started shooting sporadically on the air. Police are shooting tear gas canisters at us.
In the meantime, one of the protesters, Solomon Lenu, is calling on the international community to urgently sanction the Nigerian government for what he described as a violation of citizens' right to protest. Lenu said the protesters are planning their next line of action, as the action of security agencies will not stop them from protesting that day.
And all Nigerians and the people from the international community must join forces to condemn this action and begin to give sanctions to the presidents and the leaders of this country. Because as we speak right now, the president of Nigeria is in France. If there were no liberty in France, will he be able to be comfortable in that France where he is? And the world and Nigerians must all come together to condemn this. They have used their brute force to dispatch us today, but we are still going to continue. Then we'll reconvene again and continue to push this demand that all the right things be done. But we are coming back again and will also communicate to the world.
He called on citizens to stand up against what he described as growing humiliation and the suspension of democratic institutions in the state.
There will never be a day when Nigeria will get to that place where we want. Today we are here, we have seen what is happening. A democratic government that was elected by the people had just been suspended, and every other institutions of government in Rivers State, and then people are still sitting down doing nothing, thinking that everything will be fine, that they'll wake up one day and everything will be fine. I'm here to announce to us that never will that day come. We must fight for this democracy. We must fight for our right, because protesting is a right that is guaranteed in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and it is quite unfortunate that this time and age we will not be allowed to express that liberty.
In the same vein, the director of Amnesty International Nigeria, Isa Sanusi, described the action of the police against protesters and journalists in Rivers State as unlawful, illegal, and unacceptable. Speaking with correspondent Onyeka Chinwosu, Mr. Isa said the people have the right to peacefully protest against what they view as the government's anti-people policies.
What is happening in Port Harcourt is really unfortunate, unacceptable, unlawful and illegal. The violence unleashed on protesters and journalists as well, unfortunately, is unacceptable and unlawful, and we condemn what is going on in Port Harcourt, because people have the right to come out peacefully and demand change and express their opinions about how the government is working and how policies are affecting their lives. Therefore, the brutal show of force on protesters in Port Harcourt particularly must be investigated.
The director of Amnesty International Nigeria maintained that the duty of the Nigerian police is to protect the peaceful protesters. And now we move to Abuja. The police also fired tear gas to disrupt the protest in the Maitama district. The Nigerian Air Force deployed 2 helicopters for aerial surveillance during the protest. The choppers flew for several hours as the police went after the protesters, arresting some of them. In Lagos, the police prevented the protesters from reaching the Lagos State Assembly complex, where they intended to submit a letter containing their demands. The protesters had earlier gathered at the Ikeja underbridge as they displayed placards with inscriptions expressing their grievances and chanted solidarity songs, but they met armed policemen who had mounted a roadblock some meters away from the assembly's entrance. Now, the police officers were joined by men of the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, and the Lagos Neighborhood Safety Corps. The protesters insisted on presenting their letter, but the operatives refused. Prominent activist and former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore was among the protesters. The protest recorded a low turnout in Plateau State. The protest did not take place in Benue, Kano, Taraba, Kogi, Sokoto, and others. The police had earlier warned against the protest, describing it as ill-timed and mischievous, as it coincided with the National Police Day. Coming up next, acquitted detainees allege pressure to implicate former Chief of Staff here in Assembly fire case. Stay with us.
From April to August, teams across multiple cities will embark on the life-changing journey at Navigate Conference 2025, a power-packed camp designed to ignite their potential, strengthen their faith, and equip them for life's journey. Theme: Pour Out. Jewel 2, 28 to 29. What's in store? Thrilling games, music, and unforgettable memories.
Back and now the rest of the news. 4 people who were previously detained in connection with a fire incident at the Rivers State House of Assembly have raised fresh allegations, claiming they are being pressured to alter their original statement to implicate the Chief of Staff to the suspended Governor of Rivers State, Edison Ehie. They are Chime Ezebalike, Kenneth Massa, Oladele Lukman, and Macpherson Olumini, who were in November last year acquitted of the charges after about 6 months in Kuje Correctional Facility. Speaking to journalists, Ezebalike said they were recently contacted by a prominent PDP leader in Obiakpo local government area to revise their narrative.
Upon further prodding, he said they were reaching out to us to persuade us to rewrite our story in order to implicate Edison as the sponsor, mastermind defense of it.
Aimed at corroborating was made in a press briefing by former head of service George Weke in Abuja. Normalcy has returned to Woji Market, popularly known as Ahia Woji, in Woji community, Obiakpo local government area, after tensions flared on Friday and Saturday. The unrest followed an incident involving a female food vendor and a male customer who reportedly bought food on credit. Trouble started when the vendor asked for her money, leading to a heated argument. The male customer, said to be a Muslim, accused the woman of blasphemy against Prophet Muhammad and raised an alarm. Eyewitnesses say some irate Muslim youth in the market quickly mobilized and stormed the scene, setting fire to the vendor's table, coolers, umbrella, and other belongings. The traders who spoke with our correspondent said it took the combined effort of the police and some members of the Muslim community to rescue the woman from the angry mob. The traders added that the youth later attempted to resist police effort but were repelled by security operatives from various divisions led by their divisional police officer, DPOs.
We didn't know how that woman take answer him. So the claim was the woman blasphemed their religion. They were trying to lynch the woman. So the woman ran, and some of their Muslim brothers tried to defend the woman. They said they must kill the woman.
The guys that they want to kill the woman, they have already destroyed the woman's food. They now came from the other side, said that the barrister should bring out the woman, that they are going to kill her. The Muslims now, they are not divided into two. The people that said they should not kill the woman, they are the one defending the woman. They now lock our shop, they now call Woji police station. Some of the policemen that came, they tried talking to them, they said no. Before you know, everywhere food outside the Woji DPO, they now came, pleading with them that allowed the government to take the case back. They did not agree. They said no, they are not going to, that kind of thing is not going to happen.
Our correspondent also caught up with a member of the Muslim community that insisted that the female food vendor will not return to the market.
The woman into bad thing. So now people are saying go kill her. So the leader why there for the market in government. Government don't can carry the woman go. The woman no go stay for Port Harcourt though. I'm telling you true. Anywhere enter for Port Harcourt, the person will not see the thing don't happen. He no go live.
Spokesperson of the River State Police Command, Grace Eringe-Koko, is yet to speak on this. Away from that, the Chairman, Board of Trustees, Obagi Oilfields Host Communities Development Trust, DK Hopeson, DK, is inviting stakeholders and indigents of the oil mine and lease OML 58 communities of Egi and Idwama cluster in Obai, Bamandoni local government area of River State to a town hall meeting tomorrow, Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. In a statement on behalf of members of the board, the management and advisory committees of the trust, the chairman said the town hall meeting will be held at Obite Civic Center in Onelga at 10 a.m. The theme of the town hall meeting is Account of Stewardship, Challenges and Opportunities for Host Communities under the PIA. Chief Hopeson Dike urged all the stakeholders of Egi and Idwama clusters to attend the meeting and share their thoughts to ensure that the interests of the respective communities are represented in the activities of the Obagi HCDT. In other news, veteran Nigerian rapper Idris Abdulkarim has taken a swipe at President Bola Tinubu and his son Sheyi over the state of the nation. The Jaga Jaga crooner released a new track titled Tell Your Papa, in which he detailed the struggles and hardship in Nigeria. In the new song, Idris accused President Tinubu of making hollow promises and claimed that living in Nigeria is worse than it has ever been. He also criticized Sheyi's way of life, saying the president's son is disconnected from the people because he takes private jets instead of commuting by car like anybody else.
And now, we bring you news from around the world.
China has responded strongly after U.S. President Donald Trump threatened to hit Beijing with an extra 50% tariff if it doesn't withdraw its retaliatory levy today. Beijing's Commerce Ministry said it will never accept the blackmail nature of the U.S. and vowed to fight till the end.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
That's a wrap on the news this morning. Before we go, let's have a look at the major stories. Police have denied attacking protesters in Port Harcourt. Acquitted detainees are alleged being pressured to implicate former Chief of Staff Edison Ehie in the Assembly fire case. Veteran rapper has slammed President Tinubu and his son in a new song on the state of the nation. And on the foreign scene, you heard China has vowed to fight on after the U.S. latest tariff threat. The news was edited by Chioma Ezinwafo. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 08087217215. I'm Ifechukwu Moyele. Many thanks for listening.